Welcome back to the MMA scene, fight fans. Today's video presents Francis Ngannou calls out Jon Jones for hypocrisy. Bruce Buffer, UFC 284 was a dominating loss for Alexander Volkanovski. Chael Sonnen, UFC 285, features two least deserving heavyweight title contenders in Jon Jones and Cyril Gane. Paddy Pimblett tells Logan Paul, "Come off the steroids and we can fight." PFL partners with Conor McGregor's proper number 12 Irish whiskey. The tension between former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones continues to escalate. Ngannou responded to Jones's recent comments about leaving the UFC before fighting him, accusing him of being hypocritical in a tweet. Jones is set to face Cyril Gane at UFC 285 on Saturday for the vacant heavyweight belt. However, Jones was originally expected to face Ngannou for his heavyweight debut, but the fight never came to fruition due to a contract dispute between Ngannou and the UFC. Jones has expressed mixed emotions regarding Ngannou. While he's frustrated that the fight didn't happen, he has also somewhat empathized with Ngannou's decision to leave the UFC. In his tweet, Ngannou accused Jones of being hypocritical with his recent comments. He shared screenshots from a past Jones quote, in which Jones said that Daniel Cormier wasn't a champ because he didn't defeat him. Jones defeated Cormier twice during their careers, although their second fight was overturned to a no contest. The tension between Ngannou and Jones has been brewing for some time now, and it's unclear if the two will ever face off in the octagon. Ngannou is currently focusing on other ventures, while Jones is set to make his long-awaited heavyweight debut this weekend. What do you think, guys? Will we eventually see Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones fight? UFC ring announcer Bruce Buffer recently shared his thoughts on Alexander Volkanovski's performance against Islam Makhachev at UFC 284. The highly anticipated champion versus champion matchup was set up immediately after the conclusion of UFC 280, which saw Makhachev claim the promotion's lightweight title by submitting Charles Oliveira. Volkanovski, who was in attendance for that fight in Abu Dhabi, was more than happy to enter the cage and formally accept a fight with Makhachev. The two fighters met in the main event of UFC 284, which took place in Volkanovski's native Australia. The fantastic battle saw both men tested more significantly than at any previous point in their careers. Makhachev, the larger fighter, ended up defending his title with a hard-fought unanimous decision win. Despite coming up short, Volkanovski gave a fantastic account of himself against Makhachev. The Australian fighter's success late in the fight even resulted in some spectators scoring the bout in his favor. One of the more notable individuals to score the fight for Volkanovski was apparently Buffer, who recently discussed the featherweight champion's performance on his show, It's Time. Buffer praised Volkanovski for going up in weight to fight Makhachev and described the fighter as a young man and a warrior who deserves a lot of credit. He even admitted that he was on the fence during the fight and was leaning towards scoring it 3-2 in favor of Volkanovski. According to Buffer, he wouldn't have been upset announcing the result either way. In a recent interview, Buffett said, "I'm going to create a term here. Tell me if you agree with it. It was a dominating loss." What do you guys think about Buffer's comments on Volkanovski? Please write in the comments. Former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen has expressed his opinion on the upcoming title fight between Jon Jones and Cyril Gane, stating that he believes the fight was made because the promotion had no other choice. Jones and Gane will fight for the vacant heavyweight belt at UFC 285, following Francis Ngannou's departure from the UFC and the subsequent stripping of the title. Despite the significance of the fight, Sonnen believes that neither Jones nor Gane has done enough to warrant a title shot. He criticized the matchup, stating that it is one of the least deserving heavyweight matches in recent memory, with Jones having taken 3 years off and Gane being 1-1 in his last 2 fights. Sonnen also commented on the state of the heavyweight division, stating that it is currently slim pickings, with the youngest ever UFC champion now being the oldest #1 contender in the UFC. Do you agree with the opinions of Chael Sonnen? Please write in the comments. The prospect of a Paddy Pimblett versus Logan Paul fight has been circulating in the media for quite some time now, with both fighters exchanging barbs and expressing their desire to fight each other. However, Pimblett's recent comments suggest that he may not be as eager to fight Paul as he once was. Pimblett's annoyance with Paul seems to stem from the fact that the YouTuber-turned-boxer has been using Pimblett's name to generate buzz around himself. Pimblett claims that Paul called him a clout chaser years ago, but now it's Paul who is chasing clout by constantly mentioning Pimblett's name. Despite this annoyance, Pimblett has not ruled out the possibility of fighting Paul. In fact, he has openly welcomed the idea of a fight, but only under certain conditions. Pimblett has stated that Paul would need to get his weight down and stop using performance-enhancing drugs before he would be willing to step into the octagon with him. While a Pimblett versus Paul fight may generate a lot of interest and money, Pimblett's recent comments suggest that he's not willing to compromise his values for the sake of fame and fortune. Whether or not a fight between the two actually happens remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure. Paddy Pimblett is not afraid of a challenge, but he won't compromise his integrity to get there. During a recent interview with MMA Junkie, Pimblett gave his thoughts on Paul and the possibility of a future fight. "It's mad. He called me a clout chaser years ago, and then he's clout chasing me all the time, know what I mean?" Pimblett said, "mentioning my name all the time. So if he ever wants to fight in the UFC, lad, he's more than welcome. I'll be there waiting for him. He can just get his weight down a bit, come off the steroids, and we'll fight." What do you think about the recent comments of Paddy Pimblett? Please write it down in the comments. Conor McGregor's Proper Nun-12 Irish Whiskey has formed a partnership with the Professional Fighters League, PFL. Although McGregor's fame originated in the octagon, where he held both the featherweight and lightweight titles concurrently, his successes have transcended the cage. Alongside multiple public houses in Ireland, a menswear brand named August McGregor, and the McGregor Fast Training Program, he has also enjoyed a very lucrative venture into the alcohol industry. Since it was established in 2018, Proper No. 12 Irish Whiskey has grown significantly, owing to McGregor's vast following and endorsement, and its presence has been prominent in the mixed martial arts world due to a partnership with the UFC. The brand's ties to MMA have now been extended through its partnership with PFL, which has announced that Proper Nun-12 is now the official whiskey partner of PFL Europe, according to a press release this week. Thanks for watching. If you like, please don't forget like and subscribe for more MMA news.